Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show, highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyles, community, and neighborhood. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning. Welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. And Dorothy, we can officially say welcome to December.
Yes, we can.
We've had a lot of shows this fall, in particular, about celebrating a lot of the students in our educational system. And the Nutcracker was a very successful. They had a very successful run over at Owens Auditorium. We were privileged to have some of the cast members on. And we love to talk about a lot of the proactive students and some of the opportunities that they're afforded. And, you know, going into December, today we're going to shift gears just a little bit. We want to focus on a couple of organizations/agencies that are serving Moore County in a way to help some of the underprivileged, less fortunate people, children and adults of Moore County. And we're going to have 3 separate guests today, all speaking about different programs and their reason for being. And it's prophetic that it would happen at this time of the year, right before the Christmas season. In our first set, we're going to be joined by Jerry Townley of Berkshire Hathaway and Dave Berger of Sandberg Limited Real Estate. These 2 gentlemen have been very dedicated to the Toys for Tots program, and this year is no exception. I ran into Jerry a couple of weeks ago outside the Dunkin' Donuts, was it, Jerry?
That's correct.
And you were you making deliveries? Were you?
I was taking a box in to the store next door. They had requested a toy box to collect toys for us this year.
Toys for Tots is not just a holiday endeavor. It's a 12-month-a-year project.
It really is. It starts officially in October, and then we move through December, and then for the rest of the year we are organizing and raising funds if necessary.
Toys for Tots it's earmarked for who?
It's earmarked for the underprivileged children around the country and in Moore County, children from infants up to 12 years of age.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we have been doing this in Moore County for approximately 15 years. And just as a brief background of the program nationally, It began in 1947 when a handcrafted doll was made by a wife of a reserve major in the United States Marine Corps by the name of Bill Hendricks. And she asked him to go find a group that could give that toy to a child.
Mm-hmm.
Bill could not find anybody that was organized to do that. So he and some other fellow Marines put together a program, and that year they were able to distribute 5,000 toys to needy children in the Los Angeles area.
This was 15 years ago?
This was in 1947.
1947, right.
About 69 years old. Some of us are almost that old.
Yeah, I know.
And
it wasn't that long ago, Jerry.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, it wasn't long after that the Marine Corps Reserve picked that up as their national program.
Wow.
And over the last 69 years, just if you want some good data,
I do.
The Marines have distributed over 494 million toys to over 230 million children.
Wow.
If you put over that's an average of about a little over 2 toys per child over that period of time.
Right.
In a year. And if you put a dollar value of $15 a toy, which is kind of arbitrary, but it's probably reasonable, that totals about $7.4 billion that has gone into the homes of the needy families for their children over the last 69 years.
Yeah. This is a passion for you and Dave Berger. It's a passion for you as well, is it not?
Absolutely. I've had the honor of serving the local Marine Corps League detachment as commandant for the past 4 years, and we're fortunate to have Jerry and his team in charge of I call it the detail of the Toys for Tots program. They've done a fantastic job here the past few years, and the Marine Corps League. By the way, I wanted to say that 1947 was a great year because it was the first year for the Marine Corps League's Toys for Tots program, and it was the year I was born. So, so it wasn't that long ago. But the Marine Corps League dates back to 1923. Notable name in history, military history, General John A. Lejeune was the commandant of the Marine Corps League then. He's a war hero out of World War I, and he initiated the organization of the Marine Corps League. 1943, the Marine Corps League became one of the first organizations to get a congressional charter from the United States Congress, and that was signed by Franklin Roosevelt. So a very distinctive honor that we had been given by the president. And currently today we have 1,100 detachments across the country. We have 760,000 plus members, and our membership consists of both Marines, men and women, and also U.S. Navy corpsmen who serve the Marines in battle, and we have such high regard for. Many lives were saved by corpsmen of the Navy in the Marine Corps. So that's a little bit of the background of the Marine Corps League and this particular detachment. This detachment was founded in 1998, and we're currently 64 members strong.
Right.
And we do include women Marines as well as Navy corpsmen.
So right now, are you? Is the Toys for Tots program in a collection mode still?
Yes.
Okay. We need to get, because we only have a couple of weeks to Christmas.
Right.
Give us some of the specifics about how this all works.
The best way to donate a toy,
Right.
which is the most important thing,
Right.
is to go to www.toysfortots.org, donate a toy, and that site will lead you to a state and to a county, and within that county it will list every place that we have placed a box or a cash can, whatever.
And those gifts are supposed to be dropped off at the...
They can choose wherever they want to go.
Okay.
Many of the local golf courses are having promotions
Right.
to offer a free greens fee if you'll bring a toy, and that includes Pinehurst Country Club, Talamore and Mid-South, Woodlake Country Club
Very nice.
is having one recently, soon, and Longleaf, Highland Hills. I mean, last year they accounted for about 30% of the toys that we collected in Moore County.
Yeah.
So the golfing community has been very kind to us. And
recently in our last 10 or 15 years, we have become a county of haves and have-nots. And in our nation, we have so many conversations about the middle class, the lower middle class, and there's such a disparity that it seems like the need for Toys for Tots today is almost greater than it might have been through the 50s and the 60s and the 70s.
Well, go ahead, Dave.
I agree 100% on that. That's the wonderful thing about this community.
Right.
The response to the needs when expressed is generally immediate, and I wouldn't say overwhelming, but more than substantial. And we've experienced it here with the Marine Corps League. We've had other events that were organized not maybe as substantial as the Marine Corps League in terms of tenure,
Right.
but when they're organized, people respond. For instance, we do a pancake breakfast once a year together with the Rotary Club of Pinehurst,
Right.
and the proceeds from that in part go to the Toys for Tots program. And people are bringing in toys when they come to a breakfast for pancakes because they recognize the value that it has for children in our community.
Right. Christmas is it's not the only time of the year that we're such a giving county, but you both are very disciplined and you're very passionate, and I've watched how you proceed. It's almost organic. You go through the process, you get everything set up, and you have in Moore County right now, you have a number of different depositories, where people can go.
Well, it's approximately 101.
Jeez, really?
Right now.
101 drop-off points in Moore County.
Plus probably 30 or more parties that are held by social clubs.
Right.
Moore Women's Republicans Club has a luncheon, bring a toy. So we're always going out and picking up toys from those organizations.
What's the deadline to get toys delivered now?
We stop our pickup around December 15.
Okay. So we still have just a little bit less than 2 weeks.
That's correct.
To go.
Yeah.
And then the process of getting the toys to the children, how does that work?
Well, we distribute toys through about 45 organizations in Moore County.
Okay.
And that's schools, churches, government agencies. Northern Moore Resource is one of the biggest needs. The Coalition, the Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
Those are the three most important, if you will, in terms of numbers. Just to give you an idea, over the last 4 years, the community has given us close to 24,000 toys. We've distributed close to 35,000.
Wow.
So the difference is made up in either monetary contributions or assistance from the Toys for Tots Foundation. But it's been wonderful to see the cooperation. And I might add one other thing for your listening audience.
Sure.
One of the things that the Toys for Tots Foundation prides itself is on the percentage of the money that is collected that is spent on toys. It's 97.2%, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Less than 3% is spent on any administrative.
That's important because a lot of people question sometimes when they're administrative, where does the money go? And right.
Yeah.
It does a tremendous service. Where do you put all the? Do you have a storage facility?
We have a Santa Claus here in Moore County.
Okay. Is it Dave
by the
Berger?
name of John? Well, by the name of John O'Malley.
Okay.
Who owns some warehouse spaces throughout the county, but over off of Yadkin Road.
Yeah.
And he gives us probably 5,000 to 8,000 square feet every year.
Wow.
And he says, as long as I own this building, you will have a place to operate. Which makes us very, very fortunate because when I go to the national meetings, that's one of the problems that many of the groups around the country have is finding that space. So we have plenty of space, and we at the end of our program we have to inventory everything. We now inventory by age and gender. And we seal them up and we mark them, and then the foundation sends in an inventory specialist, and they go through and they check our inventory. And last year we were fortunate because we were so organized they didn't ask us to open up anything because they said we haven't seen a warehouse this organized.
Wow.
So they said we just take your count.
Bill, the Marine Corps is known for its discipline and its training, and the Toys for Tots program falls right into that category. I mean, the discipline, that administrative discipline that is commanded by the national headquarters on Toys for Tots programs is exemplary. I mean, like Jerry was just describing, the inventory process and the cash accounting and all of those things together, there is no room for mistakes.
Right.
And if there are mistakes, you have to earn the right to be a Toys for Tots distribution point. If you screw up, you may not be that Toys for Tots distribution center next year. So we're very proud of what we've achieved.
What I get in between the lines from what you just said is there is a high degree of accountability.
Very high.
Right.
Yes.
And that's absolutely the way to live your life, to run a business like this or a charity like this.
Right.
And the kids at the end of the day are the beneficiaries, and it's so nice in this county that we remember those that are less fortunate than us, because it's not all about the Christmas carols and how we feel and what we get, but it's what do we do for the people that can't do for themselves.
Yes, and one of the things that we don't always benefit from is to see the expressions of the children.
Right.
But there's one event that occurs each year, and it's a big fundraiser for us, and that's at the VFW. Uh-huh. They have an annual Christmas party and a Toys for Tots collection party, and the children are invited to that party.
When is that?
And Jerry, do you?
I don't have that date.
Okay.
It's within about the next 10 days, though.
Okay.
Okay.
And they have a Santa Claus there. They pass out gifts. It's what Christmas is all about.
It's supposed to be all about.
Yeah.
If people go to toysfortots.org, is there a list on the site of all the places people can go to drop off?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't have to go through the 101 places on the air. They can just refer them to the website, and they can find if they have toys to give. And you know what I love seeing is when the parents bring their own kids to watch the process of donating, so that kids who do have can see what it's like to give as opposed to just receive.
Well, I also want to bring up something that's very important. We have about 25 Marines, and I call them civilians,
right,
that volunteer every year for us. About half of those, more than half of those, are the ones that put out the boxes and collect the toys and bring them to the warehouse. The other are the ones that actually are in the warehouse every day.
Right.
And I was fortunate 2 years ago to have this one Marine join us. His name is Stan Martin. And Stan was an old warehouse guy in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And he's at home again. And it took me off the hook, and now I don't have to worry about the warehouse anymore.
Right.
We also have somebody that runs our administrative process, which gets all the reports in.
Yeah.
With all that discipline that's required. Her name is Lois Smart, and Lois has been key and has picked up a lot of the communications needs that we have.
And she is a woman Marine.
She is a woman Marine,
yes,
and a tough one.
You guys sort of fly under the radar. You do it quietly. You do it in a very dignified way, but you do it consistently, and you help to grow the program. If people want to get more information on Toys for Tots, go to their website, toysfortots.org. And Jerry, if people have any questions, can they call you directly?
Surely. It's a 910
right
690
right
7080.
Yeah. Appreciate both you guys coming on.
Thank
and
you.
I wish you both a Merry Christmas. And
Thank you.
You guys do a great job, and a lot of kids are going to be much better off because of the efforts of Toys for Tots.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, guys. We'll be back in a minute.
The joy of living is in the giving.
Hello there, this is Nat King Cole, wishing you all a happy and a Merry Christmas, and asking that you remember our less fortunate children by giving Toys for Tots.
The joy of living is in the giving.
Welcome back to our second set today, and we are segueing into a program with two gentlemen who are joining me today, Ken Rahal and Jack Kennard, and they're here to talk about Project Matthew. It's a school program. in the headline on their flyers, Moore County has homeless children that are not fed daily. And if that doesn't catch your attention, nothing will. Ken, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
And we should say that you just had some surgery on your voice, on your
vocal cords.
On your
yes.
vocal cords.
Yeah.
We're not going to make you sing, but we want you to, if you're comfortable, to talk. Tell us about Project Matthew.
Matthew 25:40 is a program based on the scripture in the Bible where Jesus says, "Whatsoever you do to the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you also do unto me." I was contacted about 3 years ago by a vice principal of Pinecrest High School who are friends of mine.
Right.
And she and her husband invited me out for dinner one evening and said that there was a problem at the school and wondered if I could help. At the time, I was with Habitat for Humanity as donation procurement, and because of my contacts in the community, she thought that I would be in a position to help them.
Uh-huh.
The problem is that there were 68 students who were homeless or special needs or at risk in the school,
right.
and they had a problem getting them food on a daily basis. I said I would agree, and I contacted two friends of mine locally, one who is at Walmart and one who is at Food Line, and the next day we had a pickup truck full of food of the items that she had suggested we bring for the children for snacks during the daytime and that they could take home in the evening. About 2 weeks later, Northmoor High School found out about it, and they asked to have the program there. And then a week later, Union Pines did the same thing. And the reason for that was because Backpack Pals, who really help the school system,
right.
do not go to the high schools. They go to the elementary and the primary schools.
Right.
So we were the backup for them, and we started that. We now have entered 16 of our 23 schools in the system. And in 3 years, we have grown from 68 students to 1,022 students
wow.
on a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
Yes. The children are helped through churches. I have 25 churches involved. I have all of the food lines, Walmart, Aldi, Harris Teeter. They are all the backup to us for our food. The items that we use are snack items such as Capri Sun juice, Chef Boyardee in the instant cups, Pop-Tarts, nutrition bars, water, crackers, things like that, that the children can privately and confidentially go to the counselor at school and receive these items as they need it. And then they're able to put the items in their backpacks and take them home at night so they will have food there. The response from the community has just been astronomical.
Right.
One of the things is that my personal feeling is that these children, they are our future. Some will be in law enforcement, some will be in the military, some will be teachers, whatever. Some will work at Walmart,
right.
Whatever the case may be.
Right.
And just because they are going through a hard time in their life, we don't want them to feel like they are second-class citizens.
Right.
So we give them the best of what we can.
Right.
We have situations where there are emergency items needed, clothing, shoes. One of the policies I have is that because of their situation and the way we care for them is that we do not give them secondhand merchandise. Everything we give them, from shoes to clothing to medication or whatever,
right.
is brand new.
Right.
And the response from that has just been astronomical. The comments that I get from the counselors and the teachers are, and they have said to me, Ken, when a child is not being fed on a regular basis, the furthest thing from their mind is their schoolwork or discipline.
Sure.
But since the program has been in effect, there has been a major change in those roles.
Yeah.
Their scholastic standings have gone up.
Right.
The discipline problems have gone down. And the children are learning. We had a situation last year where there were a few students who did not want to participate in their graduation ceremonies simply because they didn't have the cap and gowns to wear across the stage, and they didn't want to be different than the other kids. We were told that by the two schools involved, and we got them their caps and gowns.
Wow.
And it just made them participate and be active in what is going on as far as their studies are concerned. It's just been a heartfelt, warming thing to see the smiles that are put on the children's faces and the hope that's put back into their hearts. I do not have contact with the children. It's kept very confidential. The areas in the school where we have put the pantries in are privately. They're only handled by the counselors. So when the child goes and asks for the food, it's done confidentially. And it's privately, so they're not, spoken out of turn or whatever the case may be as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, it's, Jack, Ken has galvanized a lot of people in the community to make this happen. And to be clear, this is not an effort just because of the Christmas season. This is a year-round effort. We just want to highlight it at this time of the year.
It is a year-round effort, but this is a good time to reflect on the things that need to be done in our community, which on average is a healthy, wealthy community. But as you can tell from Ken's stories, and what we all know is that averages don't tell the story of the community.
Right. That's right.
Individuals tell the story of the community. I read one of the first articles that was written about this new program about a year and a half ago at home. And I had, like others, done what I thought I could to give to charities, but I found they were universities, they were national organizations.
Right.
And I thought to myself, and this may apply to some other people listening, there's so much good that can be done within a 25-mile radius of where you live.
Right.
Whatever good there is to send money back to your university that you love, of course that's good. But right in your own backyard, there are incredible opportunities to help people. And I put that article down, and I said, I have to do something about this, but I can't right now. And about 6 or 7 weeks later, I got in touch with Ken, and I said, how can they help? And it's been a joy to put together a board as this has grown from one man, one teacher, and one school to 25 churches, 16, 17 schools, and retailers here in town, food retailers, that not only are they participating, but they're doing this in addition to their national charities. These are store owners and store managers and guys and ladies who are directly connected to the needs of helping kids in this community. I just think that's unduplicated, and it's fantastic.
It seems like this effort is highly personal and very organic. It's one-on-one. It's not through social media. It's just eyeball to eyeball. People that you know, and Ken is connected, and I think you've seen that, because to make this rise up from nothing is very commendable. And your story was very compelling. How do people get more information or get in touch about Project Matthew, and how can they help?
We are progressing in the way that we can get this out into the public. But at the moment, they just need to contact us.
And how do they do that?
Just call at area code 910-603-9768.
Okay.
Or they can go to their churches, because most probably many of the people who want to help are involved in the church who are involved with us.
Okay.
And one thing I want to share, if I could, is just to define the children that we are working with and helping. A homeless child is homeless. They, go from family to family or relative to relative. At-risk children are those who come from a disrepair family. Somebody is ill or they are unemployed,
right.
A single parent with children who doesn't have the income to feed properly. There are times when we have a parent who's in prison. These children have needs, and they are deserving of those things to fulfill their needs as well. Mm-hmm. We have many situations where we get calls every week. There's not a week that goes by that we don't have 3 or 4 calls for a child who needs shoes or clothing. One situation involves some medication. The mother did not have Medicaid because of being unemployed. She lost it. We were able to provide help there. Okay. Eyeglasses. It goes on and on and on. And the thing I run into is the surprising remarks of some people. Homeless children here. Right. This is Pinehurst. We don't have homeless children here.
Right.
And that sort of thing.
In Moore County, it's definitely a tale of 2 counties.
Yes.
And sometimes you know that expression, a parent can only be as happy as their unhappiest child. Well, sometimes it's hard to be happy if you know that there are other people who are suffering or who are needy, and you know that's sort of the benchmark that you use. And I think you have indicated that, you know, in between the lines, Ken, that that's how you feel.
I do. I think that what guides me is a saying that no one ever stood so tall as when they stooped to help a child.
Right, right. And this county has changed. The demographics have changed dramatically, and our schools are loaded, and there are families from 2 sides of the track, so to speak. So what you've done in a very short period of time is commendable, and I know you're not here because you want to be commended, but what you're providing is a very important service, and I have a feeling that it's gathering some steam and it's going to continue to grow. This is a perfect time for you guys to stop in to see us. So Ken Rahal, I want to thank you. The program is Project Matthew 2540. Moore County has homeless children that are not fed daily, and what you're doing and quietly doing is keeping the integrity of their lives intact until they can get to a point where they can fend for themselves better. So kudos to you. And
if I can add, we are now 501(c)(3).
Okay.
So if anyone wants to contribute or make a donation, they will be given a proper receipt for the taxes and that type of thing.
And they need to contact you at 603-9768.
Yes.
Okay. Ken, thank you for coming in, and Jack Kennard, nice to meet you, and thank you also for coming.
Thank you.
And talking about Project Matthew. We'll be right back. Welcome back to All Things Moore County. In wrapping up our show today and speaking about some of the agencies in Moore County that help some of our people who are not as well off as some others. We're pleased to be with the executive director of the United Way of Moore County, Linda Pearson, and past chairman of the board and current leadership giver, Gerald Galloway. The United Way of Moore County is, unlike our first two guests, is a very large and all-encompassing organization that helps so many different types of people in the county. Linda, you kicked off your season, I guess, back in
September.
In September.
Yeah. What we do, Bill, is we do an official campaign kickoff normally the Friday after Labor Day.
Okay.
And that marks the official start of the United Way campaign.
Right.
You were talking about March. That campaign will run through to the end of February the next year. And, of course, yes, March 1st, we're back at it again.
But wasn't it in this year, your planning for this year, you had your planning meetings and your committees in, was it March or April?
That will be in the spring. Once we close the campaign out the last day of February.
Right.
And determine what the allocations will be, how much we've raised. Yes, we bring the committee in to help with the distribution of that, and I'm sure we'll talk some more about that as we go on.
Yeah. There are so many different agencies that the United Way helps, and yet you were telling me before the show, I mean, there are well over 750 nonprofits in Moore County. It's a staggering number.
Yes, everybody is out there. We're looking at many of the same donors. So we all just do the best that we can to help those areas where we're trying to help people. And of course, the United Way of Moore County is a county-wide program. The Northern Moore Family Resource Center, the Hope Academy there,
right,
is one of the furthest areas that we reach, of course, back down through Southern Moore County. The American Red Cross, the ARC, Bethany House, and Bethesda, the two halfway houses that are located here in Moore County, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, Communities and Schools, the mentoring program there. I served as a mentor for a number of years, as did Gerald. I brought him on
at Communities and Schools.
At Communities and Schools, yes,
so
and we of course encourage people to volunteer in all these agencies. Friend to Friend,
right,
Meals on Wheels,
right,
the 4-H clubs of Moore County, the Moore County Literacy Council, Partners for Children and Families, and the Sand Hills Moore Coalition for Human Care are the current recipients of United Way grants.
We have so many people who come on the show who are nonprofits, and everybody has a need to be and a reason to be, and everyone has a case to make. But we're getting into the Christmas season, and for a lot of people, they get touched by a lot of the people that come and speak, and they don't know where to go or where to donate or what to do, but they want to do something. So between the Christmas season, even though your campaign ends in, you said February?
Yes, last day of February.
Well, I mean, giving to the United Way is not only a good idea at Christmas, but it's also, year-end tax planning. It's also, the timing could be good. So we want people to know about all the things that the United Way touches, because Moore County is a giving county. We're in a crazy world these days, and Moore County has always shown that it's kind of insular, where we sort of pick each other up and help each other. That's one thing that's impressed me a lot by talking to so many of the guests that we have.
Well, I want to say this, and then I'd like to turn the mic over to Gerald to let him speak a little bit too. But with regard to United Way, we're always there 365 days of the year.
Right.
Not just to put the Band-Aid on the problem and then it goes away. We're long-term in taking care of the needs of Moore County.
Right.
And I think, Linda, one thing, and I'll put on my giving hat, even though I work with United Way as a volunteer, one of the things that convinces me that United Way is the organization that I want to be a part of is that they help so many people. I can't go to 15 agencies and hand out, I think, with any thought that I can do any good, but I can give to the bigger picture and let other good people in the community dissect that up into pieces and hand it out to the folks who benefit the best and most, and also help a diversity of people. I like the fact that United Way has been in the community almost 50 years, working for Moore County residents, trying to make this place a better place for everybody here. And the spectrum of people that we deal with, it just goes from one end to the other, from handicapped children, handicapped adults, abused spouses, children trying to learn and get a good start through different programs that are offered in this community. And what we're trying to do is intervene in someone's life in a way that when they get to the stages we are in life, they will have been successful because somebody cared. And I think United Way carries that torch really well for Moore County.
Right. We were talking a little bit about generational poverty and the book that Ruby Payne wrote, and you made an interesting observation. Your career was in law enforcement, and you're very familiar with the cycle that seems to continue and hard to break, but you made a pretty interesting observation.
Well, in working in law enforcement, sad to say, but also truthfully, we deal with some of the most challenging times and situations in the community where we get calls to areas where there's dysfunction and challenges. And so it's not unusual to see this cycle of challenges and problems and go from one generation to another. And so those cycles are hard to break. They're hard to intervene in. But there have been many programs that have been introduced into the community. The 4-H program, one of our partner agencies, one that does that, where they grasp and get hold of children when they're younger, to try to influence them in a way that will give them hope and also opportunity to not only catch up, but to stay up with other children in their category, and hopefully help break that culture, you might say, of repeated generation to generation challenges. And we have seen situations where that's been broken up, where there have been successes. Now, there's not total success there, but every success we have, we believe, helps salvage one child or maybe many children, and helps them do the things we want them to do. Those of us who participate and who have made it, we want other folks to not only enjoy life and make their way, but they also become a member of society who can help pay the way. And then ultimately, I think these grassroots efforts down from zero in terms of United Way efforts, zero on up, help that to happen. And that's what most citizens want, is for folks to be able to join and partner, and we can all enjoy success together.
Exactly. I remember in the Communities and Schools program, Robin Moore used to come on, and one of the things he used to always say was, if you can reach a child while they're in middle school, before they get to high school, you want to make them responsible citizens, and then they eventually wind up on the tax rolls. They're not being incarcerated, they're being productive members of society.
Well, that's one thing we've learned, but United Way in its analysis of the community and learning how to best place those resources of its partners, we're learning that children from 0 to 3rd grade are very critical. It's a very critical time to reach those children in different ways and concepts and abilities and helping them mature and keep up. Because there is evidence and that if a child is not reached and not helped by 3rd grade, there's very large possibility that they will not be able to be as successful as we would like for them to be. Now, there are some rescue programs, such as mentoring programs for middle schoolers and others too, and I don't want us to think that we have to give up on children if we don't reach them by 3rd grade, but we know that our best advantage is to try to grasp that young group. So we have programs that reach out in those areas, and we also have programs that reach out in older, and even independent of all that. We're going to be saddled and challenged with people who are disabled through no fault of their own. And somebody has to have a heart for those people too. And I've told myself, Bill, I believe personally that's the reason they're here, is to see how I will respond. And that's one thing that motivates my giving and caring about the community.
One of the things, Linda, I was impressed with is the level of accountability that you hold the organizations to, that you affiliate yourself with and you review every year. It's not just that you're just people have to be responsible and credible and accountable.
Yes, and they have to have that state solicitation license. They have to have that IRS designation to be that says they are a 501c3.
Right.
We take a look at their budgets, their financials, and if they have budgets over a certain amount, they have to provide an audit. If they're under that amount, there's an audit letter. And we, of course, a process that you participated in, we have people from the community who go out and do site visits to get to understand the programs that are being offered to the community. They conduct the interviews, and they make the determinations, the recommendations for the number of grant dollars that the agencies will receive. So I'm really proud of the fact that United Way is we really look out for that donor dollar. We're not wasting it or just throwing money frivolously at certain organizations. We make sure that they are going to provide the program that they say they are, and that it is a benefit to the people living here in the community.
Yeah. Linda made mention of the core group of volunteers that you work with, that you have over the years, and there are people from Moore County from all different businesses. There are people who love Moore County, people who are trying to make it better for everybody.
Exactly. We don't go by business to business. It's people who are interested in, like you said, and care for the environment and life in Moore County, whether it's a housewife or we wish we could have some teachers in it, but they're busy at the times that we're operating.
That's right.
We have bankers, we have the realtor groups that participate.
Right.
Just retired citizens. Gerald's retired.
He doesn't look retired to me
at
all.
Depends on the day.
Different people that come in and help us with that process.
Yeah.
Some of those people are financial people,
Yeah.
so that Linda Pearson doesn't have to be the expert in all of that. So it's a fascinating process.
Where do you want people to go now? They're home. They're listening. If they want to go online, if they want to consider giving donation to the United Way in this campaign, where do they go? How do they do it?
We have a website. They can go to unitedwaymore.com and donate there. Click to give. We had a gentleman just recently stop by the office and made a donation. Of course, we'd like to get his information so that we can thank him in a written way, as opposed in conjunction with telling him thank you.
Sure.
But all he wanted was to leave his donation. So they can come by the office. We're at 375D Southeast Broad Street. That's next to Brides, etc., downtown Southern Pines. I think that's it. You can come see us, or you can give online.
Okay. There have been so many organizations that actually are part of United Way agencies that have come on the show and spoken, and in particular the Coalition. Barrett has come on, and we've talked about generational poverty. Off the campaign season, these people are out there for their organizations, and they're doing as much as they can to provide information to the public so that the public can make informed decisions when they do go ahead to donate.
Yeah. Bill and Gerald, I think, puts this probably better than anybody I've heard when he talks about he could go and give to, or people have the opportunity to go and give to different agencies.
Right.
But if they, instead of them having to do all the research, all the work that the committees you've seen do,
that's right,
they can give through United Way.
That's right.
And they're helping more than 30,000 people living here in this community.
And I think there's another benefit, too, from United Way has its thumb on the pulse of the community as much or more than any other agency that manages this type of giving. And there's always an administrative cost. People are always concerned about that, Bill. And
That's
United
right.
Way is a little over 13%. And the way that I've kind of mitigated, or at least explained the administrative piece, is that it's not always good when somebody says we have no administrative costs, because that might mean they have no professional oversight. It could mean that. But United Way has some administrative costs, but it's more than offset by the hundreds and hundreds of volunteers who work for nothing. that if they were getting paid, that dollar would have much, much less value by the time it got to the service or the person that needed it. So one of our givers put it pretty nice. He said, I feel like that my dollar has a 4-to-1 value, even counting administrative costs, when it comes to adding on the volunteers that work so passionately for this county. And we have volunteers who live in this county and volunteers who have come to this county from other places with a passion for United Way because they appreciated it where it was, and they're still giving here. So I think the one thing that's most important, if we could say anything today, is thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to the people who have been such strongholds and helped and supported United Way of Moore County, and you've helped, like Linda said, up towards 30,000 people from year to year to year. It's a persistent effort and a continuous effort. It never ends. We will always have people who need, and it's nice to have a community that cares about that.
I want to add this, Bill, because I've had one or two people over the years say to me, we need to get out more the fact that we are a local organization, with the local board of directors,
right.
Local staff of 3 working here in the community. United Way of Moore County is run by people living in Moore County, and it's for people in Moore County.
This is a great time of the year to get together and visit with you. Christmas season is all about giving and not receiving, and hopefully people learn those lessons as they grow up. And for the physically, emotionally, and financially stressed people in Moore County, the United Way does help to provide nets for all of them through the agencies that you work with. So I hope this Christmas season, with so much on the line, people will continue to support these organizations and, in fact, support their neighbors and their community. We're glad you guys could come on and join us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It was good timing. Linda Pearson, Gerald Galloway. This is All Things Moore County. We'll speak to you next week. Thank you.
There's always something happening, and it's usually quite loud.